Hello and welcome to Farkham. My name's Lucy and in this episode I'm going to show you how I detailed, partially resprayed and weathered my Cavalex BR Blue Class 56. This is one of my favourite projects to date and I'm going to show you the full process, step by step, from the strip down, through the respray and to the final weathering. Let's jump in. First things first, I gave the model a dust down using a makeup brush. These are soft enough to lift off any particles without damaging the paint or finer details. The body on this loco is held in place by 4 small clips, no screws to undo. Using just my fingernails, I popped it off nice and easily. I set the chassis aside for later and began work on the body shell. Before all the paintwork, I masked the glazing and lights with Humbrol Maskol. This is really important to prevent varnish fogging up that beautiful clear glazing. Honestly, I had to do a double take. Some of the glazing in this model are so crystal clear I thought they were missing. It pays to take your time with Maskol, working it carefully into the edges of the frames. I used a cocktail stick for precision. This gives you great control if you can steady your hand. Don't forget the lights either. Just a small bubble of Maskol is enough to keep those lenses clear. One word of warning, the windscreen wipers are very fragile on models of this quality. As a precaution, I covered them with masking tape before masking the glass. Now onto the respray. I wanted to capture the faded, slightly tired look of a 56 around 1991. I started with a fading layer of Vallejo blue-grey, airbrushing lightly over the body sides, roof and even the yellow ends. Straight away this takes the factory brightness down to something much more realistic. Next, I introduced Vallejo Light Sea Blue, sprayed in a random mottled pattern over the blue areas only, avoiding the yellows. If you do get overspray, don't panic. A quick wipe with a damp sponge before it dries will take care of it. I always keep a reference photo handy on my phone, checking it as I go to decide if I need to do more. At this point I mixed up another shade of blue, but it didn't look right. That's why I always test on an old body shell first. Here's a Lima 37 I sprayed yesterday as a quick colour check. Always a good idea before committing to the expensive model. With the paintwork sorted, I moved on to the detailing. I fitted the screw link couplings, which just clip in. Then came the buffer beam pipe work. Some of the hoses slid in perfectly, while others needed a little paint scraped off the locating pins before they would seat properly. Finally, I clipped in the grate, which slots neatly into the existing coupling socket. It's time to turn back to the chassis. I began with a coat of Vallejo Rust, which is really more of a mid-brown, sprayed across the bogies and underframe. Checking back against the prototype photos, I noticed grey elements on the bogies too. So I picked out a few details with Vallejo grey-blue. There were also patches of dark, almost oily grime, so I sparingly applied Games Workshop charcoal grey. Already the underframe is looking far more convincing. With the body clipped back on, you can really see the faded BR Blue coming to life, but the finishing touch is the weathering wash. First, I sprayed the whole body with Colourforge matte varnish straight from the rattle can. This gives the surface a nice, slightly rough texture for the wash to grip to. Then I applied the Flory Models Dark Dirt Wash liberally over the roof and body sides. At this stage, it looks awful. What has she done? But trust the process. Cleaning the sponge regularly is key so you don't smear dirt back onto the model. With a light, gentle motion, the wash leaves behind a realistic streaking and shadowing just like the prototype. And here's the finished result, a once box-fresh Cavalex Class 56, now faded, weathered and packed with detail, looking every bit the hard-working BR Loco of the early 90s. I'm really pleased with how this one's turned out, and I think the subtle fading and streaking makes a massive difference. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.